When I was a teenager, one thing that really got my attention and caused me to consider Christ as like my sovereign Lord. I was at a Christian concert with my sisters and brother. The artist was like really challenging people, like even if you know Christ, are you submitting to him? Is he the Lord of your life? Do you defer to his command, or are you running your life? And I had never felt something so convicting before that. I just knew in my heart that the Lord was telling me that he was getting my attention, and he wanted me to take that even more seriously, and he wanted me to consider that. He wanted a relationship with me where I was submitting to him on a day-by-day basis in my decisions. It's been about 10 years since that moment, and I'm really thankful that that seems to be a continual theme of how he reveals himself to me. He reminds me a lot that it is a response. I'm not able to find him on my own. I didn't find him. He found me and gives me the opportunity to keep responding. He knows that he's going to have to give me moment after moment and opportunity after opportunity to respond, to just reaffirm my adoration and my devotion to him. Hosea 6, 1-3 says, "Come, let us return to the Lord, for he has torn us that he may heal us. He has struck us down and he will bind us up. Let us know, let us press on to know the Lord." In marriage, I have experienced some of the hardest and the darkest days and moments of my personal life. And so just recently, the Lord has been showing me how he is using that for his purposes, and brought me back to that scripture in Hosea where he talks about intentionally deconstructing us so that he can intentionally heal us. So 2 weeks after I got married, my husband started grad school for physical therapy, and we knew that that was going to be a stressful, pressure-filled way to start a marriage, but we thought that we knew that we were unprepared, and we were prepared to be unprepared for that stress. And then a pandemic hit, and then a few months later, my dad suddenly passed away. All of these things started to compound in stress and anxiety, the strength of which I had never felt before in my life. And it has been really difficult for my husband and I to navigate, and it has felt kind of confusing at times. But not only does God give people through marriage, and not only has he given me through marriage that opportunity to not just watch, but to actually be, sometimes sadly, part of that deconstructing of a human. My husband and I have walked through that reality of helping God deconstruct the other person, the parts of them that are not part of their new creation identity, and also had the joy of being part of being a vessel for the Lord to reconstruct that person. One theme that the Lord has highlighted and drawn out over the last 3 years, especially having the 2020 vision of, looking back, he's just teaching me that one of the massive provisions that he gives his children for those dark seasons is the practice of lament. Just giving us this language of being able to identify what's wrong and to just express to him the things that are broken and hurting and bleeding, but then also to bring us through those confessions and those frustrations, to still just affirming that we trust him and that we know who he is. We can say, this is what's happening and this is who you are, instead of this is what's happening and now I'm questioning who you are. Knowing that God himself provides me that license to talk to him really honestly about the things that are broken has been very healing, because we maybe could argue that we know who he is, but we still really struggle to figure out how the brokenness of the world fits into that reality. but it still ultimately concludes with, but God, we know who you are, and that is what will always be true.